Hello friends, I made this for. My name is Lauren and today is the full moon in Aries. So for you, I have a collective reading. But of course, before we dive into that and all things astrology via the tarot, which today I'm using Morgan Greer, mixing it up, I know. Let's talk about what this moon means, what it represents, what it can symbolize, and what we can kind of tap into before we get into the tapped into, right? So this is a full moon in Libra. This full moon happens every time there is an Aries season. So for those of you who are baby witches, just a little bit of information for you. And of course, Aries is our initiator to spring. Libra is our initiator into fall. So these are the balances of the two on either end of the spectrum. And that is because they are absolutely across from each other like complementary colors on a color wheel. So with that out of the way, what is Libra energy? What is, oh my God, today, my apologies. What is Libra energy and Aries energy? How do they balance each other out? How are they different and why? Before we get into that though, if you are a returning subscriber, I love you. If you're new here, I love you as well and welcome. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell if you like what I have to say about all the astrology things. So, let's get into the meat and potatoes, shall we? When we're talking about Aries energy, that connects to the tarot as the Emperor. So Aries is sometimes seen as the hot-headed energy of the zodiac, but honestly, Aries is the initiator of all things in the zodiac. So if we look at Aries as an energy, just like to tap into, Aries is represented in the tarot as the Emperor, but Aries is also ruled by Mars. So Mars being, how do we pursue the things that we value, right? So how do we pursue things in our work life? How do we pursue that energy of make it happen, right? Because Aries is the spark of the zodiacal wheel. We begin again with Aries. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, that is Libra, we have Libra is the Empress. No, that's not right. Sometimes I fuck up. Don't forget. Libra is Justice in the tarot. Okay? So on the other end of the spectrum, Libra is ruled by Venus. And so Venus is a representative within our own charts. Again, talking about Mars as it relates to our own charts. Venus is what we value, what we find beautiful, what we want more of in our life, and that we try to attract more of. So, with that said, Libra is that balance of values, that balance of what do we think is important and beautiful. Libra is major Venetian energy, just as Aries is major Mars energy. So we have a very energizing moon happening right now, okay? That is kind of my main takeaway. This is an energizing moon where we can kind of bask in asking these questions of ourselves. What is valuable? What are our morals? And how do we pursue those values? How do we make it happen? How do we honor the spark that we create? And how do we find balance to allow that spark to live on? So again, today is the Morgan Greer Tarot's work, and I'm going to say this once, as always, this is a general tarot read. So this is for everyone and all of us. As this relates to you specifically, that's for you and your heart to decide. But for me, this is being for all folks, including you, your mama, your daddy, your baby daddy, and your best friends. So let's begin with a very important question. What values are being illuminated right now? What values do we need to support right now? What values deserve our work? What values are being illuminated? Well, if it isn't the Venetian card herself, the Empress, what values are important? So the Empress comes to us as a symbol of Venus, but this card also comes to us as a reminder of, if the Emperor is the provider, the Empress is the nurturer. Again, if you've never been here before, hi, hello. I like to degender the tarot, so I'm going to try and not speak about the Empress as a male or female sort of energy, because personally, that can be rather limiting. So, I see it as the nurturer. This is the sign that represents what is fruitful. So if we're talking about what is our value system right now, it's what nourishes is the value system. So something that we as collectively might need to look into is, how do we honor the things that nourish not just us, but our communities and our generations to come, right? Because that's one thing we have to really think about and be honest about, is how do we honor those values, right? How do we honor those values? How do we honor those values? We look inside of ourselves and go, what's long lasting as far as nourishment goes? Sometimes that's working with a meditation practice rather than scrolling on your phone. Sometimes that's getting into a self-love ritual on the daily rather than just sitting there in self-loathing. So like honoring our bodies in whatever way feels right and allowing ourselves to receive that, because again, Venus is also what are we making space to receive? So sometimes that's not very comfortable, right? Sometimes it's just not. And that's okay. That's not to shame anyone, because things happen in our lives that make us feel like icky when good things happen. That's not for everyone, obviously, but if you are one of those people, that's okay. You're not fucked up for having those weird conflicting feelings. My wrist is all poppy today. Let's continue. Let's think about next card. How can we pursue more of what nourishes? How can we make more space for what nourishes? How can we make space for what nourishes? Okay. The Justice card, the card of Libra. How appropriate, isn't it? So as we can see, this card of Libra has the scales and the sword. Weigh things out. Observe before trying to pass judgment. Feel out the value before we commit. Connect to our higher power. When we see this sword that's pointing up, that is pointing to God. So we are connecting to that higher power, spirit, God, the universe, whatever it is for you. Make space for that connection. Make space for that connection so you can kind of really feel within your soul what values matter to you and what values are worth pursuing and making space for. We can't just do the whole cut things out of our life willy-nilly. We do have to sit there, as Libra asks us to, and observe and sit with before acting. Because acting for the sake of acting does not actually get us where we want to be when Jesus comes back. Because I don't know if you know this, but he's coming back soon. Just kidding. I don't know. So, think about how you can sit in the throne of your own power and observe and feel. Libra is sometimes portrayed as this very wishy-washy, I don't know. That's because Libra sits a lot of time like feeling into okay, what does this actually feel like for me and my body? And what does this actually mean long term? A Libra that is out of their like balance is going to be very cutthroat and very all over the place, right? But if a Libra is just sitting and like thinking, that's not being wishy-washy, that's being reflective. So be as this Justice card illustrates. Sit with your connection. Be in your connection, because that's going to be one of the things that allows you to understand what you need to make space for and what really nourishes you. And weigh out how you can prioritize those things better. Because let's be honest. Let's be honest. We don't always prioritize properly because we are honestly always in the rigmarole, bitches. It's not good. But it is what we do because we are in survival mode a lot of the time. So let's recap before we get our last card in, shall we? What needs illumination right now is what nourishes us in the short term and long term. And we need to really think about that before moving on to the next thing. Because if we are just go, 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 we will never have the power and the ability and the energy to pull off what we want to pull off. So in our battle to do that, we must first sit back and observe. We really got to observe and feel it out. This is not going to be one of those like, okay, I'm going to manifest over this moon one night and have it figured out. No, you might have to be doing some big moon tracking for a little bit. Because guess what, fam? Guess what, fam? Next season is eclipse season. Taurus season comes with the eclipse, mamas. So again, and I can't stress that enough, when it's eclipse season, do your tracking. Just do a little tracking. It's fine. Even if it's just little notes here and there with your moon, and you go, that's working, that's not working, that's working, that's not working. It's not rocket science. It is just a matter of feeling it out. Okay, so let's end this reading. Let's close this out with one more card. And how can we be prepared to move forward? Past that pensiveness, past that, okay, I know what I need. How can we move forward with empowerment? Sometimes the tarot is just kind of funny, and then other times the tarot is absolutely yelling, and it's not funny anymore. I'm kind of getting my feelings hurt, but today is like, thank you for not yelling so loud. Four of Swords. Rest. Babes, if you don't rest, you cannot continue forward. This moon is all about how are you nourishing yourself? How are you really observing what nourishes you? And you cannot decide big fucking choices if you are burnt the fuck out. Which is very Libra. If I'm being honest, Libra is very much like, yeah, I'm going to need to sleep on it. Because I'm not with you just like pushing me out the door and telling me I need to make a choice right now. Nah. That is not Libra. Okay? And so Libra is really, Libra is air. And so it's very fitting that we have a Swords here to connect with that air energy. But also Swords is the mind. We don't know how to nurture ourselves and really feel out how to pursue that if we are not actually nourishing ourselves with any rest. I don't know if you've ever been like super sleep deprived. Maybe you are right now, in which case go take a fucking nap as your ritual. Like, just try. My wrist is popping off, y'all. Because I'm talking on my hands too much. But it's time, fam. It's time. It's time to take that nap, to rest in something luxurious, to feel your body and listen to your intuition, to your heart, before you start powering through the rest of this fucking season. Because guess what? Again, I can't say this enough. Taurus season is next, and that's going to be eclipse season too. Eclipse is the shift, right? So that might be a good time to, or now might be a really good time to start laying out some like plans on how to nurture yourself through eclipse season. Whether that is scheduling time for a nap, babes. Listen, I'm not judging you. I'm really not. But what I am judging is we are convinced that we have to utilize every moon with this elaborate plan, or we need to do certain things for eclipse season. And like sometimes that is true. Today, I want you to honor yourself by thinking about what is going to nourish you for the long term, because the war is here and the battles are long. Be able to decipher what is of service and what is not, by connecting to your higher power in a way that, again, nourishes you. Nourish. You cannot be the river overfloweth if you are dry as a bone because you forgot to drink water for 3 days. The fuck? Drink some water. And so some of that might be you need more time for water, or maybe you need that water bottle or big jug of water that has all the little lines on it so that you can help motivate yourself to nourish long term, okay? And take time, this moon specifically, sometime around this moon, to just kind of connect with your higher source power, whatever that looks like. Maybe it's your ancestor, it's ancestor work, it's deities. Like, I don't know what it is for you. Just find it. Even if it's just walking outside and putting your face in the dirt, like, do it. And then while you're there, take a nap. That's my reading for this full moon. I hope you found that supportive. As always, links are down below for my shop, for my Patreon, where we do creative rituals monthly. This month, the theme is vision. So if you were looking for a non-toxic art school to connect with art as a spiritual practice, that could be the thing that you like can get connected to. And you don't need to be on my Patreon to do that. Just take out a sketchbook, meditate, or even just pull a card and start doodling. It doesn't have, you know, showing up is the hardest part. That's what Adrienne says. And I trust her because she's my muscle mommy. Anyway, that's all from me. Check out the links if you want to connect with me on social media. I love you so much. And until next time, bye-bye. Drink some water. Bye.